So here's a look at the overall shades in the palette. As is usual with Lorac Pro palettes, you do have a full row at the top of matte shades, and then the second row is a full row of shimmer shades. So here we have the shades Blanc and Canvas, followed by Cool Taupe and Pink Nude. Then we have Clay and Terracotta, followed by Dark Brown and Jet Black. In the second row we have Light Gold and Almond Pearl, followed by Medallion and Light Pewter. Then we have the shades Amethyst and Rose Bronze. And then finally we have the shades Dark Mocha and Truffle. So as usual, I'm going to swatch these eyeshadows over a light layer of primer. And for the swatches, I'll be using my Real Techniques 201 Bold Metals eyeshadow brush. Starting off with the first row, which has all matte shades, we have the shade Blanc. Blanc is a yellowed ivory shade, of course with a matte finish. It has a sheerer color payoff, so you would definitely need to build this up if you wanted it to be more opaque. Then we have the shade Canvas, which is more of a beige tone neutral. It has a yellow undertone, and this one I think would work better on darker skin than Blanc because it has that yellow tone to it. And then we have the shade Cool Taupe, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's more of a neutral toned medium brown shade with a gray undertone. I actually really like how this one builds up. It has nice pigmentation, and it would work great as a shade to darken up the crease to give it some dimension. And then we have the shade Pink Nude, which is more of a peachy toned beige shade. It has decent color payoff again. Even though it's a light shade, it picks up a lot better than the first two shades. And then we have Clay, which is more of a pinky medium toned nude shade. It would work great in the crease. And then we have the shade Terracotta, which is more of a warm toned caramelly nude brown shade. Next we have Dark Brown, which is a matte dark espresso brown shade with more of a neutrally undertone. And then last up in the matte row we have the shade Jet Black, which is just a matte rich black shade. This one is actually really good considering the other blacks that I've encountered in Lorac's palettes. This one is nice and richly pigmented. It's a little bit dusty though, as you can see I have a lot of fallout. And again, here are the 7 shades in the matte row of the palette. We have a lot of similar looking shades that are probably gonna blend together, but we do have some nice crease shades, some highlight shades, and some dark smoky shades as well. Moving on to the shimmer row, the first shade up is Light Gold. This is a very light, very icy champagne gold shade. Then we have Almond Pearl. This one is again another champagne shade, but it has a little bit more of a pinky peach undertone to this one. It looks very similar to Light Gold, to be honest. Then we have Medallion, which is more of a chunky taupey gold shade. This one is the worst shade of the bunch. It is very flaky. I can't get it to smooth out on my skin. It's gonna have a ton of fallout because of that flakiness. But you can apply it damp just to get some of that excess fallout off your skin and to get it to stick to the eyelids. And then we have the shade Light Pewter, which is another champagne shade, but this one is a little bit deeper. It has more of a rosy gold to it. And then next to that we have the shade Amethyst, which is more of a deep burgundy shade. It is not as high frost as the other shades. And then next to that we have the shade Rose Bronze, which is again like a medium toned light bronzy champagne shade, followed by the shade Dark Mocha. And Dark Mocha is more of a rich, deep, dark brown shade, and it has some silver glitter to it, so it makes it a little bit more chunky, but it doesn't flake off as much as Medallion does. And then last up in the shimmery shades, we have the shade Truffle, which is a deep, dark, charcoaly brown shade with, again, silver shimmer. This is a beautiful smoky shade, actually. I really like this one. And again, here are the 7 shimmery shades in the palette. And again, here are all 14 shades swatched on my arm. As you can see, there are quite a few lighter champagne-y tones that look very similar that are gonna blend together and look like the same shade. So essentially, even though you're getting 14 shades, with a bunch of them looking so similar, they're gonna merge into the same shade. So it's almost like having the same shade 4 or 5 times, which then limits the unique looks that you can achieve from the palette because a lot of these shades just blend together as one.